The study was based on 4 components: on-time performance, baggage handling, customer complaints, and the number of times passengers were bumped from their flight. As the March 1st deadline approaches, both the Marine Corps and the Army have stated that if nothing happens, by January more than half of their ground combat units will not be trained for the minimum requirement needed for deployment or crisis response. The Dodgers have decorated the stadium in commemoration of Jackie Robinson, and the earliest arriving guests will even receive a statue of the man who broke barriers in baseball. The FAA has stated they have no choice but to furlough all 47,000 employees of their agency. Employees will lose 1 day of work every other week, and planes will be expected to depart and land less frequently so as not to overload the air traffic controllers that are working. There's one roadblock the justices need to clear in order to hear the case. California officials have refused to defend Proposition 8, leaving the job to its sponsor, ProtectMarriage.com. Flight delays and long check-in lines at LAX are leaving many passengers frustrated. Airport workers are being forced to take furlough days because of the budget cuts.
We're flying from LA to Philadelphia and to North Carolina, so we could potentially miss our flights with the delays.
This is probably the worst airport experience in my entire life. One line after the other, all of them slow.
The FAA reported approximately 400 delays because of staffing reductions yesterday. And based on the lines today, it doesn't seem to be getting better. The FAA has stated they have no choice but to furlough all 47,000 employees of their agency. Employees will lose 1 day of work every other week, and planes will be expected to depart and land less frequently so as not to overload the air traffic controllers that are working. Air traffic controllers were part of the group affected by the sequestration cuts. Many believe that will only heighten problems at airports.
That's almost like cutting the water system for people. Certain things you cannot cut. The air traffic controllers are essential to the air safety, as you know.
The FAA acknowledged the problem in a statement released today, saying, quote, "As a result of employee furloughs due to sequestration, the FAA is implementing traffic management initiatives at airports and facilities around the country. Travelers can expect to see a wide range of delays that will change throughout the day depending on staffing and weather-related issues. Aside from the safety risk, passengers just hate the wait."
For some extent, it kind of butts into our comfort and makes everybody else's lives, very inconvenienced.
The furloughs are expected to last through September. Airlines across the country are urging customers to contact their congressmen and tell them to find other ways to cut costs. We spoke to the candidates about why they think they should run the nation's second largest city.
Do you all know there's an election tomorrow? How many already voted? Oh, good. Okay, I'm crossing my fingers that it might have been me.
All the candidates made appearances throughout Los Angeles today in a last-minute push to get out the vote.
I've worked for mayor, and I've now been the taxpayer's watchdog as a city controller. So I believe I can hit the ground running to be able to be the person who's going to change Los Angeles and get us back to work.
And I believe that my practical, very hands-on experience and management style and my approach to managing and leveraging our assets to bring in new revenue to the city makes me most suited to be the next mayor.
The resounding message is that, yes, you're better than the other candidates. Let's get them out of City Hall and make sure we take our city in a new direction.
I'm the only candidate in the field that's been a prosecutor. I was a federal prosecutor. Los Angeles has built a culture of corruption that's going to take someone that understands what's going on in City Hall to clean it up. I will do that.
Eric Garcetti was right near campus to visit with several businesses and talked with residents around the metro stations. A major issue that many LA mayoral candidates have had to speak about is Proposition A. Now, while most proponents say the average person would only have to pay $30 more per year because of this sale tax, every candidate that I've spoken to has been against it.
I said vote no on Proposition A.
It's a regressive tax. It hurts lowest income the hardest, and it chases customers away from our local businesses.
I am not in support of Proposition A. I don't believe that we can tax our way out of the challenges that face Los Angeles. We need to make structural change, and so I've equally opposed Measure A.
One candidate even offered a hopeful future for USC graduates.
I want more small businesses, the backbone of our economy. I want more of them to have the opportunity to hire folks like you, because I don't want the students at USC to feel like to find their future, they need to leave our city.
Today marks the 66th anniversary of Jackie Robinson breaking Major League Baseball's color barrier. One current Dodger spoke about the former Dodger's impact on his life.
I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you about baseball and the Dodgers if it wasn't for Jackie Robinson. So we always appreciate Jackie and what he's done for us.
Today, everybody is number 42. It's a way for baseball players to pay tribute to Jackie Robinson. The anniversary is getting special attention this year. The movie 42 opened this weekend, claiming the top spot at the box office. Robinson's daughter spoke about his legacy at Washington Middle School while discussing her book, Jackie Robinson, American Hero.
It is pretty amazing, to be a person that died 40 years ago, to have him be such a historic figure that we can even reach middle school kids, but having a Matt Kemp here helps to reach these middle school kids.
Jackie Robinson Day will be capped off when the Dodgers host the San Diego Padres tonight at 7:10. The Dodgers have decorated the stadium in commemoration of Jackie Robinson, and the earliest arriving guests will even receive a statue of the man who broke barriers in baseball. Some say creating a more diverse baseball game is still a work in progress.
Major League Baseball still largely is run by a very conservative and very white and very middle-aged to older group of people. And so the vast majority of voices in Major League Baseball still come from a very limited segment of the population.
As we mentioned earlier, security will be heightened for tonight's game because of the deadly explosions at the Boston Marathon. An NBA player made history today by coming out as the first openly gay athlete on a major American sports team. NBA player Jason Collins revealed his sexual orientation in an interview with Sports Illustrated magazine. Good evening, I'm Jake O'Brien. Police are boosting security in the Texas county where two prosecutors who worked together were murdered. Deputies escorted employees into the courthouse today after a district attorney and his wife were shot and killed in their home over the weekend. Just 2 months ago, another prosecutor was killed outside his office. Officials say the motive for a courthouse shooting in Delaware is still unknown. Early this morning, a gunman opened fire in a courthouse lobby, killing himself, his wife, and another woman. The Delaware State Police Sergeant confirmed that the gunman opened fire before he passed the lobby's metal detectors. Witnesses say he opened fire immediately after entering the lobby. Vice President Joe Biden spoke in Philadelphia today about the urgent need for stricter gun control laws. He made clear that the people have the right to self-protection. Police say 2 men affiliated with al-Qaeda in Iran were arrested and charged today after plotting a terrorist attack on a Canadian passenger train. The train was supposed to travel from Toronto to New York, but police arrested the men before the attack was executed. Officials say there is no connection between the Canadian terrorism plot and the Boston bombings. Officials with the Royal Canadian Mounted Police say the suspects were targeting a Canadian passenger train on one of its busiest routes in the Greater Toronto area. It did not pose an immediate threat. This is the first known al-Qaeda planned attack in Canada. Mayoral candidate Wendy Gruhl spoke to Venice residents today to show her support for the increasing fire department budget. If elected, Gruhl plans to put all City Council discretionary funds into the general fund to save $3 million every year. This will add more money to the fire department, whose budget was cut by almost $90 million over the past 4 years. An audit was released showing the response times were lower than the national average from lack of personnel. Gruhl plans to cut the City Council budget by 25% to add funding. More than 300 firefighters were fired over the past 4 years. You may have noticed people sniffing their computers today, but it was all part of an elaborate April Fool's prank. Google tricked web searchers into thinking they could search for smells online. The search engine launched the fake application Google Knows. Once you type in something smelly, the page prompts you to start sniffing your screen, but you'll be in for a disappointment. Not even Google has that technology yet. YouTube claimed it was shutting down because the platform's 8-year run was nothing more than a talent search, and no more videos could be entered in the contest. Twitter said it was doing away with vowels and would start charging users $5 a month to use them. It's called the Cinnamon Challenge, and teenagers are taking it on at an alarming rate. However, a new report proves that the game is more harmful than people think. It's a relatively simple game. One teenager dares another to put a tablespoon of cinnamon in his mouth for a minute without drinking water. However, the game can have dire consequences. The report states that American Association of Poison Control Centers receive hundreds of calls a year about Cinnamon Challenge-related cases. Some teenagers have ended up on ventilators due to collapsed lungs.